Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Salt and Burn This, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Sammy.
I'm Valerie.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I know you're not welcoming me back, but I always feel like you are, so thank you.
I see you're in Chautauqua.
Chautauqua. Indeed. I haven't made it across the lake yet, though, to check out that town.
Right.
I will. I'll probably have time next week to jaunt over. Yeah, it's been pouring every day since I got here.
Really?
And not just like, oh, it's raining. It's like, because we're right on the lake. When it rains, it is just curtains.
Wow.
Curtains of water coming down. It's pretty amazing. Later on, you'll hear me complaining about how hot it is. So, not there yet. Yeah. Not complaining about the rain. It's actually pretty, I don't want to say comforting, but because my house is kind of tucked into the hillside, it's a good day to be in. Like, it makes you feel like it's a good day to be inside, you know, like comfortable inside. But it's also beautiful because when it does rain, I'm looking out onto fields and trees, and it's not gray, gloomy city rain. It's like lush,
forest
wonderful.
Rain. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's nice.
Some of the other cast members and production folks here have a house just up the road from me, and they're all super excited because it has a pool. I'm like, you're never gonna get to use it. They're all super excited. I'm like, between your schedule and the weather, you are never gonna get in that pool.
Yeah. Very funny.
I had a small funny moment. Yeah. I was sitting on my little 4-foot deck the other day, and I didn't notice when I first stepped out, but there were deer in the yard. And Julietta, who's with me, was like, growling at the deer, but not making any moves to run down the stairs and into the yard after them. So she's like poking her head through the bars, of the railing, and like, I was like, why don't you go chase the deer? She waited until they got just to the edge of the property, as if they were going to leave into the woods, and then ran down the stairs and chased after the deer. I was like, you waited till they were gone to then go make this big show of chasing the deer off the property. And she came back, she was all happy with herself. I was like, they were already gone. Did you just pop your earbud out?
I did, and it landed in my slipper somehow. So I'm trying to fish it out with my. Well, I wasn't wearing my slippers. I was sitting cross-legged on the thing. But
I was gonna say, just do that again.
Where the hell did my earbuds go?
Wow, how far away did it go?
It wasn't far. It was hiding behind the corner leg of the desk, which is black, and the carpet is black, and then it's dark under there because I have the blanket. But it was just did it dip into a mystery spot in a wormhole?
There's our opening spot.
Yeah. Then we will segue into Season 3, Episode 11, Mystery Spot. Groundhog Day, supernatural style. It's Tuesday every day in a town with a tourist trap called the Mystery Spot. Only Sam is aware of the phenomenon, and only Sam will be permanently changed by it. Teleplay by Jeremy Carver, story by Jeremy Carver and Emily McLaughlin, and directed by Kim Manners.
Oh, Kim Manners did direct this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because Kim Manners also directed an X-Files of the same ilk.
Yes, and they call out X-Files a couple of times in here.
A couple of times. They're like, this is a little too X-Files for me. Yeah.
Yes. It must have been a little poke at Kim Manners, or to himself.
So I thought that was really cool. And I actually looked up one of the things Kim Manners said about directing that X-Files episode was it was really difficult to direct each retake of the scene and try to make it interesting for the audience member to not just keep using a recut or the same scene over and over again, the same action. So for every take, every scene you saw, it was a new action, and he would try to change the camera angle or something like that, just to make it slightly more fresh for the viewer each time it happened without it being a substantial change. And I think he did the same thing here. as well.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, sometimes the camera angle was about the same, but looks like he had plenty of practice, I guess, from that other episode, right?
Right.
But I did read that it was difficult to shoot just because of the weather. Because usually, again, in Canada, it's cloudy and dark. But every now and then they would have a sunny day. So then it was like, well, fuck.
Should we use the sun? Well, because it was supposed to take place in Florida, and there was definitely shots where you could see people's breath. Yeah, Broward County, the mystery spot in Broward County is supposed to be Florida. That's why the motel was like flamingos. But that X-Files episode was based on a Twilight Zone episode called Shadow Play. Buffy did a series, an episode like this. What was it called? Life Serial. Stargate did an episode like this called The Window of Opportunity. So off the top, I loved this episode. It had a great mix of supernatural humor, of supernatural angst, supernatural bloody gore.
Yes.
Drama, heartbreak. It kind of had all with, leaning heavy on the humor.
This is like a supernatural classic episode. Yeah. It's like definitely one that is in the top 10 for most people, and for me.
Yeah.
And it's one that you always remember. Even if you don't remember the exact specific details of it, it's still like you hear that song and you're like, oh, it's Tuesday.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so to start this off on our recap, it's kind of a mishmash of things. There's the evil sons of bitches, and then there's like this montage of just tons of different monsters that they've killed, including the djinn, and the trickster is in there.
And the trickster, yeah.
They talk about Dean's deal, like from the beginning, where he tells Bobby that he only has a year to live, to the end of the last episode where he says, I don't want to go to hell. And then there's clips just to remind us of the cult's origins and, who Bella is and that she's a thief. She took the cult. And Ruby recruiting Dean to help toughen up Sam in this fight that he's got to face
on his own.
Yeah. Which is interesting because usually the recaps, like when they have these blips of other people, then it's like, oh, Bella's going to be in this episode, Ruby's going to be in this episode, and neither of them were.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like
Jim
Bella was mentioned. Yeah, Bella was mentioned, but not shown up. Ruby, not at all.
Well, that's where, like, the opening credits will kill it for you sometimes, though.
Exactly.
If the recap doesn't, the recap's supposed to give you a teaser, right? But then the opening credits, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
When you recognize an actor's name, you're like, okay, I know who's going to be in this episode. So sometimes that's a drag.
Yeah.
But so moving into the now of the episode, it's a close-up, an extreme close-up of Sam's closed eyes as if he's sleeping. And then you hear this click, and Heat of the Moment plays. And he opens his eyes, and he sits up, and it's the clock radio playing Heat of the Moment by Asia.
Yeah, a clock radio from 1979.
Yes. I had that cassette, the Asia Alpha cassette, and I played it relentlessly. So I was like, yeah, it's Asia, but you're not supposed to like Asia.
No.
As Sam says later on, really, Asia? If I hear that again, I want to kill myself. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Dean, though, having a grand old time with the song. He's already up and at him, like tying the shoes, and he's like, yeah, dancing, doing the finger point
rocking
moves.
Out. Yes. He is having the best morning.
Yes. Then we cut to in the bathroom. They are brushing their teeth. Poor Sam is left with like that gross, goopy toothpaste that
like after toothpaste.
Yeah, it's like after someone who like doesn't do the neat and tidy, like just roll it up, clean it off before you put the cap on. It's just
Lurp. Yep. And Dean, clueless, he just like what, gargling away, doing his thing. All the little things that like people who spend a lot of time together, like little things start to drive the other person crazy, and the other person has no idea.
Yeah. They get ready to go out for the day. Dean pulls out a bra from his backpack.
Did he get laid? Is that why he's so chipper? I mean...
Yeah, I don't understand. And see, whenever they do shit like this, not just this show, but any show where it's like, oh, the guy like pulls out a bra from somewhere. I'm sorry, as a woman, if I was like gonna go, with a sleepover to somebody's house, I'm not gonna forget my bra.
Right.
It's like the first thing I'm gonna grab is
the bra. As if you're in such a love daze that you just stumble out.
Yes,
without
and forget
your bra.
my very important supportive garment. It's
right.
Not something
and expensive, by the way.
Yes. That's
cheap.
number one why I'm not going to forget it. It's like, this was $60. Are you kidding me? But then pulls out a gun. Then he's ready to go for breakfast.
So they hit this diner. Dino's super excited. He's like, hey, pig in a poke. I'll get that.
Yep.
And Sam's like, do you even know what pig in a poke is? I looked it up. I always thought it was a breakfast thing. It's not. The idea of a pig in a poke is that you go to the market and you buy like a piglet in a bag, like in a sack, and you just take it. Like you say, that's what I want, and you take it without checking what's actually in the bag.
Oh my
and it turns out that the shop owner has put like something that's worthless, like a cat, in the bag, and now you're home and you have no recourse. You've been sold something that you thought was supposed to be good, and it turns out it's worthless. Which is where the adage of "let the cat out of the bag" comes around, because the cat gets out of the bag. The truth is out. The truth is out.
Wow.
I know. You didn't get sold the thing you thought you did. It's the cat's out of the bag. The truth is out. You were suckered. So part of me is like, geez, what are you ordering then?
Right.
You order a pig and a poke. It's like, what are they making you? But so Dean orders that with a side of bacon and a coffee, and Sam says coffee and a short stack. So he's still getting in on the breakfast thing. The guys still haven't found Bella there. So in the meantime, they've decided to do this side hunt for this man who's been missing, who showed up missing. That's a terrible phrase. Showed up missing.
The man who went missing.
Yes, thank you. What's his name? Professor Dexter Hasselbeck. He vanished after having visited the Broward County mystery spot. Also
in the diner, just to note, only because it's important later on, almost sort of important, when the waitress comes back to serve them breakfast or their coffees, she has a hot sauce bottle. It tips over, crashes, and falls. Oops. Sorry.
Crap.
Makes a huge mess. Yeah. Okay, so now they do a walk and talk down the street. Some imagery while they are talking about mystery spots and how usually it's just a tourist trap with things like nailed up to the ceiling or, wobbly mirrors.
Right. All optical illusion type things. Yeah.
So they walk by a dog that's barking at them, tied up to a bike
rack.
Bark, bark.
Hey, you guys. Hey. Yes. Yeah. Super sweet, cute, waggy dog.
Yes. They bump into a woman who's walking the other way. Dean, of course, does a double back look at her as she's walking away. They walk by a couple of movers trying to fit a piano inside of a regular-sized doorway.
Is it a piano? I thought it was a desk. I thought it was like a giant office desk.
It might be a desk. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a desk.
I guess because when it fell down and broke, it kind of looked like there were like some wires or something that popped out, kind of like what a piano would do.
Strings.
Okay, fine. It's a desk.
I'll take it. I'll take the win.
Dog, woman, and two movers with a big desk trying to fit it into a regular-sized doorway. But then Sam does say that mystery spots could be real. There are actual occurrences of them happening around the country where bends in the space-time continuum, people go missing. The Bermuda Triangle is a good example of that.
He also mentions the Oregon vortex. I looked it up. It's a real place. Mm-hmm. It's a tourist spot. It's not anything supernatural. It's just a roadside attraction that does almost the exact same thing that this mystery spot on Supernatural does. Yes. So it's not an actual mystery spot. It's just a tourist attraction.
No, there are actually a lot of those that happened around like the 60s and 70s when road trips started to become a thing. So then, like, all the, the biggest ball of twine and all those, like, other weird things, that's kind of where that came from, was people, when they're driving, then they
need
have
a place to stop and do something.
Exactly, on the way to their final destination. Oh, look at this cool thing over here. So that's where mystery spots and stuff kind of
became popular, popped up. Yeah.
I found like a small list of them. Buena Park, California. Calico Ghost Town Mystery Shack, California. Confusion Hill at Idlewild Park, Pennsylvania. Cosmos of the Black Hills, South Dakota. Gravity House, California. Knott's Berry Farm, California.
I did do that. That was my first experience. The Knott's Berry Farm was my first experience with like a mystery spot, because they have it's an entire little cabin set up like that, and it's where like you can roll a bottle uphill, you pour liquid and it goes sideways and things like that. I as a kid, I was like, wow, I had no idea that the house was actually built on a tilt. So I loved it. I thought it was super cool.
They are really cool. And you know what? You can say, like, oh, it's just stuff nailed up to the wall and all of that. But there are still a lot of, like, physics that goes on in building those. So they are impressive in their own right.
Yeah.
But there are also, quote unquote, real ones, or ones that really do make the world go, what? Like the Bermuda Triangle. And there's that other one. It's like in the Pacific Ocean called the Dragon's Triangle. And they think that's where Amelia Earhart probably got lost and disappeared.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was like another Bermuda Triangle out there. I thought it was just like that one.
Yep. And people say, it's been debunked. It's all a myth. And I'm like, well, explain then the missing boats, please. The missing planes. Yeah,
so that's Sam's argument for the mystery spot, saying like, oh, it could be real. Exactly. I don't know. Let's just go check it out.
Magnetic forces can bend space-time. Well, yeah, we'll go check it out. This is where Dean says, oh, sounds a little X-Files to me. Yes. So later that night, the boys break into the mystery spot. And I loved this door, this walk-in hallway. Mm-hmm. I love that it's like that. It was green walls with like a spiral painted around it, so it looked all like great effect. And there's like that slightly hokey organ music playing in the background. Mm-hmm. Sam's got the EMF out, so he's all, he is on task. He is ready to find something supernatural here. Dean is just noticing all of the quote fake stuff that he mentioned earlier about hokey mystery spots. So he's seeing the table nailed to the ceiling and stuff. And he's like, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
He's also exasperated because Sam doesn't really know what he's looking for, or he doesn't, the EMF isn't really working. So we don't really know how to find our clues here.
Right. Like, what are we doing? What are we actually doing?
Yeah.
And out pops this nervous sweating guy with a shotgun. And it's the owner, and he thinks that Dean and Sam are robbing him, which I find interesting because all they were doing was poking. Like they were literally just walking around in there. But Dean, being Dean, tries to de-escalate the situation. He's like, hey, it's okay. Let's talk it out. Nobody needs to get hurt here. We're not robbing you. And he goes, because he did pull out his gun initially when the shop owner popped out. And Dean's like, look, I'm putting my gun down. And he goes to put the gun down, and the shop owner shoots him. Yeah. Just shoots Dean square in the chest. Shocks everybody. Shocks Dean, shocks Sam, and even the store owner's like, I didn't. Yeah, he's like, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
Can't believe that this just happened. And we can't believe it just happened either.
I know.
And Dean dies in Sam's arms. Title splash.
Yeah, it was a very, very, very long opening teaser scene.
Yeah, that was a lot to take in.
Yes. So when we come back from the title splash,
click.
Heat of the moment. Yep. Sam wakes up. Dean is again dancing like a goofball about the Asia song. And Sam's a little, whoa, that was a weird dream.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dean asks, clowns are midgets.
I I like that, like, the whole bathroom scene is being repeated, except this time when, like, Sam's looking at the toothpaste, he's not perplexed about the toothpaste tube anymore. He's kind of perplexed about what's happening here.
Everything.
Like, he's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? And I made a note to myself, because with Dean, his comment about clowns or midgets, which we'll walk away from that. I was like, don't ever tell Dean a secret, because he will hold it against you. He will trot it out at just the worst time.
Yes.
And I'm like, don't ever tell Dean one of your secrets, whether it's a fear, a phobia, a like, a dislike. Don't tell Dean. He will bring it out at the worst time. Pop to the diner. So we see some of the same things we saw before. The old man getting change at the cash register.
Yeah, there's kind of and I'm just going to run through it all, just because it was really hard to make a notes about this episode without repeating yourself over and over and over again, because that is what the episode does. Yep. So here's kind of the general Tuesday routine that Sam is kind of reliving now and will be further on. There's the heat of the moment, wake up, the toothpaste gargling, the drive safe old grumpy man. Just coffee, please. Paying and change. Oh, pig and a poke. The ordering of the special side of bacon and a coffee. The hot sauce. The dog. The excuse me woman. And the desk. Yes. The desk movers. So, we go through that day. And throughout that day, or these... Sam is just getting more and more and more confused. And finally, while they're at breakfast... he's just like, didn't we do this already? Like, don't you feel like we already went through Tuesday before?
Right. Like deja vu? No, not deja vu.
It's like we literally did it. No, that sounds like deja vu. I swear to God, if you say deja vu one more time, don't even say it.
And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll listen. You know, what's going on? You're clearly upset by this. But Dean's like, well, if you are noticing these things again and again, maybe it was one of your psychic visions. So Dean's on board. He's like, all right, there's a mystery here. Maybe it was one of your psychic visions. And Sam's like, nope, too vivid, like too real.
Yeah.
Too real. And Doris, the waitress, comes by delivering their at least it's Dean's order now. And once again, oops, crap, drops the hot sauce, but this time Sam catches it before it hits the floor. And I think, again, surprises all three of them. He's surprised that he caught it. She's surprised that he caught it. And Dean's like, hey, nice reflexes.
Yeah. When they get to the mystery spot, or the subject of the mystery spot, Sam is like, oh, this is mysterious thing that's happening here. Let's go check it out. But let's check it out right now, when it's nice and crowded during business hours.
We're not going to go tonight. Yeah. No. So Dean's like, all right, we'll go now. Steps off into the street and gets launched by old grumpy guy speeding down the street in a big green car.
Yep.
I mean, pretty
epic car crash.
Once again, Dean dies in Sam's
arms. Yeah.
So, click. Heat of the moment. You know, fast forward to the diner
past
again.
The toothpaste, the pig and the poke in dinner, or in the diner.
And this time, Sam's like, I'm in a time loop. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
And instead of deja vu, Dean offers, Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And Sam's like, yes, that's what's happening here. So now they're one step closer to figuring out this mystery. At least they know they're in, like, they figure it's more like Groundhog Day. And I can't imagine that there's anybody listening to this podcast who has not seen the movie Groundhog Day, which or
at least knows what it is.
The reference.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the same day repeated over and over and over again. Where I think in all of these episodes, at some point in these time loops, the people who are affected by them, like, take time off from trying to figure it out, because they're like, it's just going to happen again and again. So I'm just going to do something else. I'm going to take a few loops off and, like, go learn to play the piano.
Or I'm just going to go murder somebody, or,
because there's no consequences. It doesn't matter what I do. The same day is going to happen again. Not to say that Sam takes a break and goes and murders anybody.
No, but he does end up getting crazier and crazier and crazier.
Right. Right.
So
because everything that happens, he remembers.
Yes. He's the only one, as the description says, he's the only one that remembers that it's Tuesday again and again and again. Everyone, including Dean, is just living a single Tuesday of their life. And that's why Dean is always like, okay, buddy, little freak.
Are you okay? Are you feeling okay? Yep. So back in the diner, we got the oops crap dropping of the hot sauce bottle by Doris. Sam's getting worked up because Dean isn't truly believing him. He's like, yeah, okay, I believe you, but I still think you're nuts. And he reveals to Dean, like trying to get his attention. He's like, you die.
Yeah.
I have seen you die. You die. And Dean still doesn't fully believe it. He's like, I don't die. I mean, not now.
Yeah.
But like today, I'm not dying.
You're going to die by the end of the day. And I've already been through it twice and I just can't do it again. I can't.
Yeah. He's like, please. And he pleads. He's like, please believe me.
Yes.
This is going to happen.
Yeah. And then Dean snaps into, super supportive big brother mode and is, okay, great. Like, then let's figure it out.
Yep. Cut to the walk and talk on the street with the dog barking, blonde and the pink. Excuse me, bump, excuse me. They pass by the furniture movers who still haven't figured out how to fit this desk into the door. They're like, okay, what do? We have to go check out the mystery spot. Can't go tonight because you die. Let's go right now. No, we can't go right now.
Then Sam pulls him from the street because Dean just goes ahead, saves him from the crazy old man just driving past who seems not to realize that he almost hit somebody or it doesn't care.
Right. Oh, he's like, get out of my way.
Yeah.
But you know what I realized in this second scene, the second take of Dean almost dying, getting hit by the car? The old man's driving the wrong way on a one-way street. That's why in the first scene, Dean doesn't look in the direction. Way. He only looks one way.
I see.
And gets out because I was like, what was he thinking? Why would you just step into the street? It's because it's a one-way street and the old man was driving the wrong way. Yay for second takes and a slightly different camera angle that showed more of the street and the arrow painted on the road going the wrong way.
Yeah. So then Sam says, well, this is the second way that you die. And Dean asks if it looked cool, like in the movies.
And Sam's like, no, man, you peed yourself. That's how uncool all of this is. You did not look cool. This is not fun for me. And you know what? You peed yourself. All right. Are you happy? I had to see you dead and covered in piss.
Well, of course I peed myself. Man gets hit by a car. You think I'm not going to lose control of my bladder? Very funny.
Way to cover up your...
Yes.
Way to cover up a stupid question. Yeah.
Although it is funny because it did look cool, like in the movies.
It totally did. It totally did. Cut to the mystery spot. Now this time they're interviewing the shop owner. So what are they, reporters or journalists or, they're just writing a story about the mystery spot or so the shop owner thinks. He's not answering any of their questions because they're asking, reporter type questions. And he's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe you should take the tour and mysterious things happen here. So he's all about
laws of physics have no meaning. Yes. He's kind of being like a circus ringleader type of salesman. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like a snake oil.
That's it. That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. Yes, exactly what he is. He's a snake oil salesman. But Sam just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing.
Like bedside Sam, gone.
Like
there is no bedside Sam here. He is just like, no more Mr. Nice Sammy. He's like, weird things are happening here. Where is Mr. Professor Dexter? And that's when the owner's like, oh, wait, what are you guys writing about? He's like, oh, so the facade drops. And he's like, no, that guy came here. He was a jerk, but the police interviewed me. They tore this place apart. I don't know where this guy is. And by the way, I just bought this place, from an auction, from a foreclosure auction. My family didn't own this. This isn't, dude, this is just a spot with furniture nailed to the wall. Okay.
Yeah.
Please don't accuse me of murder.
And Sam is just I mean, I would be very intimidating by this look that Sam is giving me with this 6'8" guy or whatever the hell he is.
Right. And he's also just got like big bug eyes, and he's like,
I know.
he's breathing like, what's, where, give me the answers, you know?
And I think Dean calls him Kojak. Was that right?
Yeah, he's like, let's step outside, Kojak.
Yes.
So, but they figured out though that it's not the mystery spot.
Yeah.
It's not magnetic forces bending time that's causing this, you know, time loop. It's just a regular building. So that's there's another clue. So they're like, so what do we do? What do we do now? We know it's not the mystery spot affecting us. What do we do now? And Dean's like, well, how about we just make sure I don't die? Yeah. Step one, let's just make sure I don't die. Let's make it so that I make it to midnight, and then it'll clear the loop. Right?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, because they always restart. The day always restarts once Dean dies.
Yeah.
So let's just order takeout. We'll just chill out at the motel for the rest of the night, and that's great. They're back on the street, by the way, on the same walk and talk street from before. Dean heads out to go get some Chinese, and wham! The
crushed.
The not piano desk falls from the sky because that was the movers.
They decide to winch it up into a window instead of carrying it up the stairs. Yeah. And so, a la Wile E. Coyote and a piano or an anvil falling out of the sky, Dean is crushed by this plummeting desk in front of Sam.
Did you notice Dean's head flying towards the camera?
No.
Yes, rewatch it. I mean, it was hard to pause, but I'm 98% sure that was meant to be Dean getting decapitated by the desk. Because at first you would think it's a shoe or something, but then the camera goes up to it's just his legs sticking out from underneath the desk.
Right, he's got on the ground. Brand new clean boots, by the way.
Yes, like the Wizard of Oz witch.
Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
If you watch that scene where the desk crushes him, then there's something that just like goes a flip, 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 flip towards the camera.
All right.
Do it.
All right.
I'll wait.
Now you have to pause for a second.
All right, good. Who wants Chinese?
Oh my God!
That was the best face you've ever made in your life.
Oh my God, because you know what else? There was splatter.
Yeah. It's a gruesome little death scene that they do here.
Chinese.
Okay, so the notes I wrote about this particular moment don't match up to what you just revealed to me.
Okay.
Because there's so much that happened in that 2 seconds. One, Sam is shocked and stunned, hurt, confused about watching Dean die again. Yes. The furniture removal guys are like, oh, what do we do? You know, not all that concerned that they just, not only crushed a man, but decapitated a man. But the music and the sound effect, because Dean goes, cool, and makes this funny sound, but he's killed and his head pops off. I mean, it's funny, disturbing, shocking. It happened very quick, so it was a little bit of a jump scare.
Yeah.
You know, and then the comic music kind of builds a little bit, and they do the zoom in on his legs sticking out, a la Wizard of Oz. Yeah. A lot happened in that second. Dean dies, never a good thing. Sam watches Dean die, never a good thing. Yeah. But in the comicness of it, and oh my God, they actually cut his head off, threw it at the camera, and splattered the building with his blood.
Yes.
Which I didn't notice the first 6 times I watched this. Wow. Okay. Whole new world just opened up to me in that 1 second.
Yeah, that had to have been a CGI throw-in at the last minute. Or maybe not the last minute, but it probably wasn't thought of until they got to the adding in of that
editing
element.
They're like, hey, you know what we should do?
Ooh, what would be really cool? And I'm sure Kripke went all for it. He's like, yes, do it!
Which is funny because I make a mention later on about an upcoming death. I make a mention of something that now is moot because I say that this was the first time we see blood splatter, and it's not, because this is the first time we see blood splatter.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Dean's blood splatter. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you, Sammy.
You are so welcome.
That was great. I just want to say to those mover guys, what the fuck? You guys just killed somebody, and you're like, oh, we're not tied, the rope's tight enough.
Yeah.
So click. Heat of the moment.
Yes. We are now at Tuesday, number 4.
Yep.
Also, heat of the moment, number 4.
Yep. This time Sam doesn't sit up super fast. He's just like, oh no. He's like, I don't want to get up today. I do not want to do this day. So back at the diner.
Yes.
Dean
yes. He gets to the idea of, like, okay, well, let's just stop me from dying and then we'll close the loop. He gets to that idea a little bit faster and says, well, maybe if if I'm doing the same thing every day, what if I switch it up? Maybe that will also throw the loop for a loop.
Right. Right. So I'm going to order sausage instead of bacon. And he's all proud of himself, too, for that discovery. Yep. And then ends up choking on the sausage. Sam going, Dean, click.
Click.
Heat of the moment. So Dean choked to death on the sausage. He thought he was all super clever in ordering.
Yeah.
And so now the days start coming faster and faster. Sam decides, no breakfast. We're not going out for breakfast. We're not doing that. And Dean's in the shower like, hey, why can't we have breakfast? And Sam's like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. All right. And then Dean slips and falls and dies.
Flunk, thunk. Dean, click.
Click. The moment. I mean, comical, but all these deaths, I'm like, would Dean really die this way? Like, would Hunter Dean die in these fashion?
You're right, like slipping on the shower or choking on a bite of sausage.
Right. And here's my favorite one. This one's my favorite. Go ahead.
It's just a clip of them eating tacos. And Dean says, do these tacos taste funny to you? Click.
That one made me laugh out loud. That was the first, like...
I know. The way they cut these together was very clever and very funny.
Yes. I was like, were they poisoned tacos? Or were they just bad tacos? But leave it to Dean to die. Again, eating.
Yeah. So then the next time, Dean tries to plug in his shaver, and while he's getting electrocuted, you can see like his skeleton like all light up and shake.
Kind of silly. Click. Yep. Heat of the moment.
And in this Tuesday, Sam is really losing it. They end up at the mystery spot. Mr. Karpiak is duct taped to a chair, with Dean trying to reassure him everything's gonna be fine, everyone's great, while watching Sam literally taking an axe to the mystery spot.
It's like, I'm going to take it down to the studs.
Yeah.
He has got to find something there. And he is just wailing away, a la, like, here's Johnny, just axing away. And Dean's like, you know what? I'm going to take control of the situation. Sam, you've gone far enough. Let's just put the axe down. Put the axe down. Now, none of this we see. This happens off screen, and you hear the boys like arguing. Give me the axe. No, give me the axe. No. Yeah. And then you hear this shwick. And Mr. What's his name?
Karpiak.
I want to call him Kubiak, which is not right. Karpiak is splattered with blood. And you hear Sam going, Dean?
Yeah.
Dean? Shop owner's like, like, what did I just see? I'm covered in Dean's blood. So I was going to say in this moment, I was like, oh my God, Dean splatter. But we already saw Dean splatter earlier.
This was probably one of my favorite. This and the taco one are like two of my favorite ones because they're just so like silly.
It's silly, and it was Sam who ended up killing
him. Yeah,
didn't just watch him die, actually killed him.
Yeah,
because they were fighting over an axe. You know, he didn't like intentionally kill him.
So now we get to click heat of the moment. It's Tuesday, however many it's been. We're at the diner. We do the old man with the keys, the coffee please, the ordering of the breakfast. Sam is just kind of literally walking through the motions. Yeah. Yes. Throws some keys up on the table, and Dean's like, "What are those?" He's like, "The old man's keys." Trust me, you don't want him driving.
He shouldn't be driving.
When the waitress Doris comes up and, takes the order, Sam says, you know what? You should really get more practice on the archery range because you're a really poor shot. Which makes me think, was that another death of Dean's that we didn't get to see on camera?
Yeah, I was like, what did we miss?
I know.
So that's my assumption, is that somehow she whips out a bow and arrow and kills Dean. Or maybe she just headlined somewhere and, later.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who knows? Because Sam says here that this is his 100th Tuesday in a row, which could actually be his 100th Tuesday, or it's just like a hyperbole of how many Tuesdays he's actually lived through. But there are definitely Tuesdays we haven't seen as audience members because he's talking about all of the customers in the diner. He says Randy, the other waiter, has been skimming from the cash register. That guy over there, he's a judge and he dresses up like a bunny every night. And then that guy there who can't pay for his coffee is going to rob the mechanic on his way home. So who knows how many other avenues Sam has tried to, figure out what time loop this is and how to save Dean from dying.
Right. He's kind of, I feel like his demeanor now has changed. His demeanor has changed, obviously, because it's been so many Tuesdays. He's gone from like, we got to solve this, to like, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter what I do, you're going to die. He's like, I'm exhausted. I can't fix this. I can't win this. So he's fairly defeated.
Mm-hmm.
So that solving mystery energy is gone.
Because even when Dean is just like, so you think you're in some sort of, and obviously they've had this conversation 100 times, Sam is this time loop, just having to explain himself over and over again. It's not just, yes, watching Dean die over and over again has got to be emotionally draining, but it's also just this whole, like, trying to make his case, trying to make Dean believe him every day.
Yeah.
And he even proves it to Dean when he just
like, watch this.
Yes. And then they just say the same things at the same time. And it could be the craziest insults you've heard, like Sam wears makeup, Sam keeps a measuring tape next to the bed, and every morning when he wakes up, okay, enough. It's word for word.
It's the best mirror exercise ever of anticipating what the person's going to say next, and you say it at the exact same time. And they do it over and over and over. It's very funny.
Yeah.
But Sam's not having it. He's just like, I know because I know. He ends up saying, like, no matter what I do, you die. And I wrote down, I was like, foreshadowing? Is it foreshadowing if they actually announce what's going to happen? So back outside, Sam is still like recounting all the things that are he says it before it happens. He's like, dog, woof, woof, where's my dang keys? And then the old man walks by going, where's my dang keys? And, excuse me, boom, blondie girl bumps into Dean. And Dean's like, well, hey, have I ever stopped and said hello back to this woman?
Yeah.
And so he runs off after Blondie, and chats her up. And it turns out she is the daughter of the missing professor guy.
Mm-hmm. And she's got flyers in her hand, of like, missing, have you seen him? So Sam takes it, runs after the woman to go question her about her missing father.
Right.
Dean is left standing by himself next to the dog, a cute, fluffy little golden retriever, and says, hey, buddy, you need a friend. And then all you hear off camera is
chomp, chomp. Hey! Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dean is mauled to death by a cute, fluffy dog.
Golden retriever. The
which,
friendliest
again,
dog that's ever existed.
Hey, buddy. Yeah. I also love, like, again, would Dean the hunter die being mauled by a golden retriever?
No.
I'm going to say no. Yeah. Click. Heat of the moment. Now they're back at the diner. Sam, Valerie, Jesus. Sam's researching. So he's back to being research Sam. He's got the computer out. He's been doing stuff now. Instead of being a passive observer to everything happening, now he's like, aha, there's something here.
He does have a clue, finally. And I think it was just having some fresh eyes, like, in the situation. Even though Dean technically is fresh eyes every single time, but it's one thing when you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. You sometimes can't step back and look at your situation.
Right, exactly. And every small change that Dean makes, though, leads them, it turns the curve a little bit.
Yes.
And this was like a major awakening. And it's like not only fresh eyes, but like fresh enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like Sam has energy again. Aha.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, saving your life hasn't worked. So cool. Now I have something else to focus on. Maybe that will be the answer.
Right.
So yes, he has his laptop. He's done research on the missing guy, who is not just a professor, but a writer. And his specialty was talking about these things like the mystery spot or, you know, some other kooky thing out in the world and debunking them. Like this guy derived pleasure from like making these places go out of business.
Yeah, he was a jerk about it.
Yeah.
He wasn't just like, hey, come see the spot. He was debunking them as if he was the discoverer of the illusion, you know, like revealing the mask, you know, the man behind the curtain, ta-da.
Yeah.
You know, so he wasn't just saying, hey, don't waste your money. He was being a jerk about all these places.
And then Dean chuckles, you know, when they get up to leave, and he says, that's kind of funny that this guy, you know, wrote about mystery spots like a pompous asshole and then disappeared in one. It's kind of like just desserts.
Just desserts. Yeah. Yeah. Hey.
It's like just desserts.
Just desserts. And so they get up to go do the rest of their day. They go to leave the diner. And Sam, with that knowledge of just desserts, like, you know, wheels are turning, gears are clicking, notices that a customer who had been sitting at the counter eating pancakes every day has now changed from having regular maple syrup to strawberry syrup.
Yeah.
Click. Heat of the moment. There's no death.
No. And that was a big thing. So really focused on this syrup guy. And Dean is just like, come on, dude. You know, it's a free country. Everyone can have their own syrup. You know, man can't choose his own syrup. And Sam is like,
what
no.
Living in? Yeah.
No one changes unless I make the change for them. Such as, for instance, the guy. He takes the guy's keys so that he can't drive. So in that way,
he makes the influence. Yeah.
Yes. And once he makes that realization, yes, then it's click, wakes up, but Dean has not died.
Right.
What a twist.
Yes.
He's onto something. So during this Tuesday, they're back at the diner. Dean's trying to, you know, go through that conversation again. It's like, so you think you're in what again? Sam is not even entertaining him.
No, he is staring down the pancake guy.
Yeah.
The maple syrup guy. He is just like, got his eyes on him. And when the guy gets up and leaves, Sam's like, peace out. And he like grabs his bag and clears out of the booth and takes off after syrup guy.
Yes.
And Dean's like,
I kept calling him syrup too.
I called him syrup guy. And then Dean's like, hey, what's in the bag? Okay, you know, and ends up like paying and running out after Sam, like, wait up. And so outside, Sam totally accosts syrup guy with a blood dipped steak. So I guess that's what was in the bag.
Yeah.
He had prepared and got himself was it dipped in lamb's blood or something like that?
No, that was the gin. The weapon of mass destruction for a trickster, which was not stated in the episode, but it was. I read it from an official companion article. Is a steak that was dipped in the blood of its last victim.
Oh.
So I was a little bit like, how would he have known who his last victim was? Or his last victim would have been, what's his butt, the professor guy, but he went missing.
Right.
But I guess because they never actually stated it out loud in the show, you know, out loud really for the audience to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe they loosened up the rules a little bit.
It's a sharp, pointy stick. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
And it could be dangerous. Sharp, pointy stick. He forces the syrup guy to reveal himself as the trickster. And he does. The trickster's like, okay, fine. You got me.
Well, yeah, but it was like It took him a while. Like, this guy just kept pleading with him and saying, I have a family, I have 2 kids, please leave me alone. And Sam is just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Dean is even like, Sam, I think you're
chill.
off your rocker a little bit, let's chill. And Sam is like, there's only one creature powerful enough to bend reality like this and to just make the same day appear, which would be a trickster. We know because we've killed one before. And that's when Syrup morphs back into the trickster from last season.
Right. So clearly Sam and Dean didn't kill him as they thought. We knew the trickster wasn't dead. Right. We didn't know he was going to be. Well, we did because we saw Richard Spade Jr.'s name in the title. But Sam and Dean didn't realize that they were going to be up against the trickster.
Yeah.
So you're right. But he does reveal himself and he's like, all right, you got me.
Yeah.
And he's like, Sam's like, why are you doing this? Was it just fun to kill Dean over and over again? And the trickster's like, yeah. Of course it was fun to kill him. And Dean's a little taken aback by that, like, hey.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
But he said, it's not what it's all about, though.
Yeah.
He said, it's about watching you watch Dean die and not being able to stop it. That's what this is about.
Yeah. Over and over and over again. Forever. And how long is it going to take you to realize that you can't save your brother? Sam threatens to kill him. He's just like, I'm done with this. And just tries to drive the stake in further into his neck. And Trickster's like, okay. Listen, you let me go.
I'll undo the loop.
Then you'll wake up tomorrow and it's Wednesday. And if it's not, you'll know where I will be.
And Sam's like, no.
Yeah.
No. It'd be easier to just kill you. And as he goes to actually kill him, the trickster, like, snaps his finger. He's like, can't let you do that. Bye. Snaps his finger and boom. This time you hear click. And instead of heat of the moment, you hear, let's get back in time. Which is Huey Lewis from Back to the Future, which apparently Dean hates. He hates that song. But Sam's like, I love this song.
It's the most beautiful song I've ever heard.
It's Wednesday. Now, Dean does remember the previous day. He remembers
a little
the previous
bit of it.
Tuesday up until he's like, I remember breakfast. I remember you being kind of whacked out. And I remember running into the trickster. And, now it's Wednesday.
Yeah, because that's what follows Tuesday. So Dean has just lived a normal week, essentially.
Right.
Like, he remembers Sam telling him, I've lived through hundreds of Tuesdays.
Right.
But Dean has gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right.
That's it. With a wacky Tuesday, considering they ran into the trickster and lost half a day. But but Sam is just like, oh, thank God. Let's just go. Pack your stuff. We're out of here. No breakfast.
No, nothing. We are gone.
Much to Dean's dismay. His face is just like, no breakfast?
No breakfast? I'm with Dean on that. I love a good diner breakfast.
Breakfast is my favorite meal of the day.
Yeah. So Dean's out packing the car. As soon as he closes the trunk, he thinks Sam has walked up behind him, and because he starts questioning him about the trickster. And turns out it's not Sam standing behind Dean at the car. It's the Cal, the coffee guy from the diner who was going to go rob the mechanic, is now standing at Dean with a gun and is trying to rob Dean. And a part of me is like, did this guy not just see the arsenal in the trunk?
I did too. I kind of thought that too. But Dean tries to, calm him down. It's like, okay, all right, dude, let's talk about this. Doesn't need to go this way. We're back inside the motel room. Sam's doing his packing up. He hears a gunshot, rushes out, and sees Dean bleeding out.
A single gunshot wound to the chest, and it's just not like bloody. It is like pumping. Yeah. It is what we call a pumper.
Yes, it was very obviously a pumper. I was like, oh, womp womp.
Yep. And Dean again dies in Sam's arms.
Yeah.
But this time, there's no click.
No. Sam tries to wake up and can't. It's real this time.
So, cut to a montage.
Yes. It's 6 months later. This montage is just like a robotic but badass monster hunting Sam. He's just ruthlessly killing everything evil in his path. And it's cut with a few voicemails of Bobby, getting increasingly more worried.
And things we start to see in these montages is like Sam becoming more and more badass, as you say, like to the point where he's removes a bullet from his body and then stitches up his own wound. You know, he's sitting alone in a motel room looking at walls of research, that hunter wall of research.
His hunter wall is
meticulous.
Intense. Yes.
It's huge.
It's the most well-organized hunter wall I've ever seen.
Yes. So neat and tidy. Everything is evenly spaced. Everything fits like a puzzle. It looks fantastic. He's even eating like, in his room by himself, but it's like a burger, but he's not eating the bun. He's like just eating the burgers. So he's still like health conscious, he still hasn't reduced himself to like full-on hunter, fast food containers in the room, beer bottles. He's drinking water and burgers without buns.
Yes. He is training like an athlete.
Yes.
So we end the montage with a final voicemail from Bobby that just says, "Hey, I found him." So then Sam goes to meet Bobby at the mystery spot.
Yeah, it goes all the way back. So Sam has been to Death Valley. He's been to Austin. Those are some of the places so he's been all over the country hunting. And now he goes back to Florida. And I just want to add that one of the things we see Sam do before he leaves is that he makes the bed of his motel room. Mm-hmm. So he's still like very Sam and like laser focused. He's not haphazard about anything. The toothpaste tube is clean. His bed is made, and it's a motel room. Who makes the bed in a motel room? Oh, Sam does.
Yeah, I guess I felt like that was part of his new mentality of like, again, his only focus is to find the trickster. And there are, I don't want to say tricks, but there are methods that people who are super focused like that do. Like they wear the same thing every day because that reduces their decision-making time of, like, what am I going to wear today?
Uniform. Yeah, I used to love
it's
that
just
about
like black shirt and jeans, that's it. Then, my decision is made for the day. Like in the army, I think they teach you to make the bed every day because then you finish the task for the day. And it was also the way that Sam woke up from the bed, where it was literally he just sits straight up, like does a perfect sit up, in bed, and like
rising out of
gets
a coffin.
Out.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is just, to me, it was not just neat and tidy Sam. It was meticulously methodical. It was robotic.
Yeah.
It was like, get up out of the bed, make the bed, make breakfast, look at the wall, clean the gun, go out and hunt.
Gotcha.
Come eat dinner without the bread, so I am like in the best physical shape as possible. Go to bed. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So yeah, I do think that Sam, a normal Sam Winchester, is more neat and tidy and organized than, Dean is. Dean's a little bit chaotic, and that's okay. But this was extreme.
More so. This was like, okay, yeah.
I felt that way.
Thank you.
Anyway.
No. You actually said what I was trying to say that I couldn't say. So you actually verbalized what was in my head. So back at the mystery spot, Bobby has set up some sort of sigil on the floor with candles and a book and is, waiting for Sammy to come in. Now, did you notice Sam walks in behind Bobby. Bobby stands up and is like, "Hey boy, good to see you." They zoomed in on his hat. Did you happen to look at Bobby's baseball hat?
No.
Death Valley Rebel is what it had on his hat. Death Valley was one of the places that Sam did that Bobby notated about, hey, good job in Death Valley or whatever. So we'll come back on his hat.
Okay. Bobby gives Sam a huge hug, and Sam does not reciprocate. He just kind of stands there.
Like,
and
why are we here?
What are we doing here? Yeah.
And Bobby says, well, you want to get the trickster, right? Well, I found a summoning ritual that'll call him here to this spot. But we have to do it right now, tonight, and we need a gallon of human blood in order to do it, or else we have to wait another 50 years.
Yeah, essentially a human sacrifice. And Sam's like, okay, I'll be right back. Off to find a human sacrifice.
Right. And Bobby's like, what are you doing? I brought you here to show you that it's futile to keep looking for this answer. You need to stop. And you're not going to go kill a man just to try and get Dean back. But if I can't talk you out of it, which sounds like I can't, kill me. Take my blood, use my blood if that's how you feel. If that's how badly you want your brother back. Kill me instead. Right. And hands Sam this like wavy, pretty scary looking dagger. Mm-hmm. Turns his back to him and is like, okay, just do it quick, Yeah.
He also gives like a sad emotional, like, listen, my time is done. I'm old. I'm tired. I want to do this for you. You guys boys keep belong on hunting together. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys can keep on hunting without me, because I've done my hunting. So now you guys can do it.
Yeah. So as Bobby's back is turned in the kneeling position, you see Sam in a blurry shot behind him, like, take out that bloodied steak again. Instead of the knife.
Instead of the curvy knife.
And then says, all right, I'll do it because sticks it straight into Bobby's back. You're not Bobby.
You're not Bobby. Bobby's corpse falls face first. And then Sam's like, right? Bobby?
Yeah.
Bobby? So for a hot second there, Sam thinks he may have actually really killed Bobby.
Yeah.
But then luckily, the body does the trickster fade away thing. It disappears. The steak ends up flying across the room and pops into the hand of the trickster, who is now fully morphed into a man himself.
Yeah.
Wearing a fabulous shirt, by the way.
Yeah.
Love that shirt. It totally reminded me, my dad and my grandfather both had shirts like that. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it reminds me it was a very 70s shirt with that like big butterfly collars.
Was it like a Huckapoo shirt?
Yes. Loved it. Oh, Huckapoo. I haven't heard that in a while. But it was a fabulous shirt. But my question here again is, did Sam honestly think that this steak was going to kill the trickster? Or was he just trying to get the trickster's attention? Because it didn't kill the trickster the first time they tried to use the steak in that other episode.
I would say yes, because it was a more tricky way to stab him. He was like going along with the motions, like, okay, I'll take this knife and, stab it into you. So I think he was trying, like, how can I sneak up on the trickster? Because the first time I think they did, or the trickster knew that they were trying to kill him, so he knew that the steak was coming at some point in the in last season.
Got out of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then this last time earlier in this episode, that the steak is literally pointed at his neck.
So he sees it.
Yes. And so Sam only really knows that he stabbed him once with the steak and it didn't work. So maybe he's saying like, ooh, maybe if I'm smarter about it, now I'll kill him. So I do think that Sam thought that the trickster was going to die, that it would kill the trickster, and then this whole thing would just disappear and he'd go back to Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my theory. That's my opinion. In any case, the trickster has not died. I think by now, at this point, Sam is like, oh, fuck, this guy's unkillable,
Yeah, and he basically is like, just give me my brother back. It's like, we'll stop chasing you down. We won't hunt you down. Just give me my brother.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like seeing Bobby dead and thinking that he killed Bobby.
His only family member. Yeah.
I think that broke him. And it was like right at the point of breakage that then Trickster appears. And finally Sam is just like, I can't do this anymore. Please stop. I will stop. I'll leave you alone. You can do whatever the hell you want. And then the Trickster is...
He's not moved. He's dropped the trickster attitude. And he's like, this isn't fun for me anymore. And you didn't learn the lesson. This was all about trying to teach you a lesson.
Yes. And the lesson being your constant sacrifice for each other is just going to end up in a constant loop of pain and death and misery.
And yeah. And my question is, why does the trickster care?
Yeah, that is a question. That doesn't get answered here because he just keeps going. He's like, Dean is your weakness.
Yep. And the bad guys know it.
Yeah. And they're going to use that against you, and it will be the death of you.
Yep. Now, again, is that foreshadowing or a statement of fact? But yeah, it's like, all right, fun and games over. You guys you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And everything you do, no matter what you do, is going to end the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't get this reference because he says you're Travis Bickle in a skirt.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I mean, I know it's Robert De Niro from Taxi Driver, but even that's before my time. Like, I didn't watch Taxi Driver. I know it's a terrible, like, a violent movie about a deranged guy. So Travis Bickle is deranged, but I'm like, I don't get the reference. I didn't either. I was like, what the hell does that mean? But even Sam is like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
And the trick was like, for me to know and you to find out, which is somebody's response, like typical nanny boo boo response to somebody who said something that didn't come out the way they wanted it to.
Yeah.
Like I remember, LA parking is ridiculous. If you've got street parking, it's ridiculous, right?
I remember.
So there was this one time where there was street cleaning like every other day on the streets in LA. There was never a time where you didn't have to get up and move your car. So I got up early this one morning to move my car for street cleaning. And you can't just like move it out of the way and then let the street sweeper go by and then park again. It doesn't work that way in LA.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for someone to get up and leave for work, and then I would take their spot on the good side of the street. And I'd been waiting for like 45 minutes, and I noticed someone pulling out behind me. So I threw my truck in reverse and was like, down the street. And this woman came around the corner going the right way and popped into the spot that I was backing up to get into. And I pulled up behind her, like still in the street blocking traffic. But I was like, hey, I don't know if you saw me, but I was backing up to get into that spot. She's like, yeah, you were backing up. I was like, yeah, because I've been waiting for 45 minutes. I saw that spot. You just came around the corner and popped in. She's like, oh, well, was being all self-righteous about this parking spot. Well, I wanted to yell at her and say something really smart and pithy. I tried to say, oh, yeah, well, parking karma is a bitch. And I wanted to just like drive off with that snappy little, comeback.
Yeah.
And what came out, because I was so mad at her, was like, oh, yeah, well, karmic parking's a meh. And she's like, what? And she looked all confused because I just yelled gibberish at her. And I was like, yeah. And I drove off. Karmic carping's a bitch. That's what I ended up saying. Karmic carping's a bitch.
The amount of times I have done that, I've just screamed gibberish because it just got jumbled between my brain and my mouth in a moment of
emotions.
Anger.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I felt. Like the trickster was like, oh, yeah, well, that's for me to know and you to find out. Yeah.
So, trickster snaps his fingers and we hear a click and a back in time. So
back to Huey.
Yes, we've jumped 6 months back into the past. We're now at Wednesday, number 2, which followed the 100 Tuesdays that Sam had. And we're replaying that scene over. So Dean's brushing his teeth, chiding Sam for, sleeping in all day. And, sad that there will be no breakfast.
But Sam gets up, very methodical, walks straight to Dean and hugs him.
Oh, a big old bear hug for a while.
Big hug, yeah. And even Dean realizes that there's something wrong here. He's like, how many Tuesdays did you have?
Yeah.
And you're like, what have you just been through? Dean does remember the previous Tuesday, where they chased down the trickster in a suit and, revealed him to be the trickster. But that's all he remembers. He doesn't remember anything else. So let's go. Let's go get breakfast and go. Sam's like, nope.
No breakfast. We're just going to go. And I am not allowing you to pack the car by
anything
yourself.
By yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Dean is like, wow, what happened? And Sam is still, while he's happy that he's back in this Wednesday, he is so shaken by what the trickster revealed to him.
That and the fact that he lived for 6 months without Dean and in this mindset of revenge and just having to live for a while with Dean gone.
Yeah. And what did
really
he turn into
on him
while Dean was gone? Because there wasn't a trace of Sam. Like, there was no bedside Sam. We didn't see any compassion, we just saw like you said, a very methodical, very robotic Sam. And I know the fandom has translated that into Sam turned into like dad, turned into John. I don't think so. Because two very different personalities. I think Sam just turned into, like you said, like Sam, the embodiment of Sam was gone. He was just this robot going through the paces. It's not, I don't know. I did not see it as a clear, this is Sam as dad.
Oh,
I
didn't know that theory. I would agree with you there that Sam did not seem dad-like to me. I think he was, well, maybe he was dad-like in the fact that he was just, actually, now that I'm like talking it out, because he was so focused on revenge for the thing that killed his brother, just like Dad was so focused on the thing that killed his wife.
Yeah, he missed out on Bobby. He missed out on the boys. He missed out on...
Yeah. And then when Bobby did like kind of offer himself up for human sacrifice, but then again, that's different because I think that he was onto the trickster by that point, because I think he knew that Bobby would never actually do that.
Right. That would never be an option. Yeah.
No. Yeah. No. But so in one vein, he was so focused on revenge that was very parallel to Dad. But I think personality-wise, I don't think that it was Dad-like.
So Dean leaves to go put his stuff in the car. Sam is hot on his heels to leave the hotel room. He turns around, takes a look at the hotel room, and this is why I made mention about the bed. The bed is unmade.
Oh,
Sam didn't make the bed this time. He just turns out the light, and that's the end of the episode. So I'm just wondering, the difference between the two Sams, the guy who makes the bed, the guy who has a clean toothpaste tube, and what Sam just left this motel room. What Sam do we have right now? Do we have the robotic hunter Sam who now has his brother back? Or do we have the old Sam back? Because the 6 months you said still happened. He still lived those 6 months of killing and hunting and, surviving on his own without Dean. Mm-hmm. So is he bringing that with him? Is that's now a part of him? Little philosophical questions. So the reason I beat to death the hat thing is that I wanted to point out that it was the trickster. Clearly it was the trickster calling him and being Bobby. It wasn't Bobby. I'm going to say all those voiceovers was not Bobby calling. Yeah. It was the trickster calling as Bobby to keep himself, to keep watching Sam. He was following Sam. He was watching Sam. He was there every time Sam did something. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he had a hat from one of the locations where Sam had killed the vampires or whatever, I thought that just, to me, right there was very clearly that's the trickster and not Bobby. And it just, it made you think back about all the times Bobby called Sam to check in on him. It wasn't Bobby.
I also want to say that at the end of that episode, when Sam mentions that he had a weird dream, Dean again asks, clowns or midgets?
Clowns or midgets.
Don't and that's ever actually the last Dean line. Yeah, that's the last line of the episode.
There's a lot of subtext in this episode. Mm-hmm. For as cute and funny as it was, there's some very strong character underlining in this, defining moments. Or just moving forward from this episode. I think Sam's got a little bit bigger burden, as if he didn't already. But now he's burdened with the knowledge that no matter what he does, everybody is telling him he can't save Dean.
Yeah.
So even though he said it in the previous episode, I can't save you because you don't want to be saved. Now he's faced with, I've been told by a god that I can't save you.
Yeah. I don't know if I literally can, even with Dean now on board. Ruby hasn't really given me much of a rituals or spells that I can do. I'm not given anything positive here. Time just keeps moving forward closer and closer and closer to this deadline.
Ugh, poor Sam. So
Ugh.
Dean died a total of 10 times in this episode.
Those 10 times that we see are the trigger-happy shotgun by the owner of the mystery spot, the old man driver that we now know is driving the wrong way on a one-way street, the big desk decapitating him from above.
Oh my God. Not just crushing him, decapitating him.
Yeah. Choking on a sausage, slipping and falling in the shower, funny tacos, electrocuted by the shaver, bad axe handling between the two of them, a golden retriever, and being mugged by Cal. And possibly Doris shooting him with an arrow somewhere.
Right.
That's implied. That's implied.
I kind of would have liked to have seen that one, honestly.
I would too, yeah.
Just as a random, like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I probably would have liked to have seen that over the electrocution, because the electrocution one was kind of like ridiculously cute, like ridiculously like with the skeleton.
Oh, the effects guys had a fun time with that. They were like, oh man, this is hilarious.
Okay, because I was like, that was silly. I mean, I literally just wrote down silly. I mean, the whole thing was silly, but that was particularly.
Yeah, I think that it was silly on purpose, just because it was Dean dying over and over again.
And it was the trickster.
And it was the trickster doing like goofy death scenes, but also, the first couple of times there's like 3 times total that are really, really heavy. When it's the first time that Sam sees Dean, the second time that Sam sees Dean die, then he kind of gets used to it. But then the last time that he sees him die and doesn't wake back up, there's some heavy stuff in here. And Jared actually had a really tough time with this episode, just because he had to keep going to that like really heavy place of having to watch his brother die. And then even like in the scene with Bobby, having to kill him and thinking that he almost killed him for real. He was like, I didn't have a great time shooting this episode just because I was constantly having to go there,
Right, because he thinks he's dead every single time. At least for the first 10 times, he thinks he's dead every time. Yeah.
And so then when he finally watched it as an audience member, he was like, oh, actually, this is really funny, the way that they did all of this.
Oh, okay.
But, I don't think he had as fun of a time as Dean did, who's just like, oh, dude, it's Tuesday again. It's X-Files.
Right. Well, that, and again, every time he died, it was like not a way that Dean the Hunter would ever die.
Yeah. He's tough
guy hero. Yeah. That one was my favorite. Hands down, the taco one was my favorite. Did you say you had a favorite? You said you had 2 favorites.
I like that one and the axe one. And I think it was mostly the way they cut it, when it was just, do these tacos taste funny to you? And then click awake, it's just assumed how he died from tacos, who knows? Maybe he was just like on the toilet for a really long time. And
oh no! Why would you put that in my head? Oh.
But then the axe like being off camera and then like arguing,
that was
like you
funny.
Could like imagine them fighting over the axe, and then
like maybe Sam letting go, and that's when Dean actually like axes himself or something. I really did like this episode, and the dark turn that it took when Sam's on his own without Dean was hard to watch. It was hard to watch because you're still in disbelief that Sam didn't wake up, and then that he loses Sam, he loses himself and goes on this rampage of, I'm just going to bury myself doing these other jobs while I'm still looking for the trickster. Because on his research wall that he had, there was pictures of the trickster, so he had been tracking him. He found him in certain places, so it wasn't just Sam running off and doing hunting. He was very deliberate with what he was doing.
Okay, so next week we are going through, I don't know how to pronounce, Jus in Bello? Jus in Bello? Jus in Bello?
Jus in Bello? Jus in Bello?
Like au jus? Like a sandwich with au jus?
I would say yes.
By next time, I will look up what that means and how to pronounce it.
I as well. I forgot that was the next one.
Have a lot to talk about the next one, so I'm excited for that. And I'm hoping we will have a special guest with us. Should be fun. Again, no one famous, but just another person that's besides us.
Please, God. Somebody in addition to us.
Yes.
In addition to us.
So thank you so much for joining us this week. Please make sure to subscribe to us anywhere you can for podcasts, and also a 5-star rating would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Sharing us would be pretty cool too. Get us out there a little bit more. That would be nice.
I was going to say, if you have friends who are more YouTube oriented, we're also on YouTube.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We are on YouTube, at least the past 4-ish episodes. But moving forward, they will continue to be put on YouTube, which is great. Not our faces yet. Sorry, I haven't figured out really how to...
No, that's going to take some prep time. If I can't get my contact lenses in less than an hour, there's no way that I'm going to be able to be video
camera
ready for anything. Yes.
But you can also find us on social. We are at Salt and Burn This everywhere. And that's it. So we will see you next week for Ju in Bello or Just in Bello. Or we'll see how we pronounce that next week.
Episode 12, ladies and gentlemen.
Episode 12. Thanks all. Bye.
Bye.